right, we are here at Service World. I am with Dan Antonelli of Kick Charge Creative. Is it creative? Yeah.
Yeah.
Author of Branded, Not Blanded. And I want you to tell me, what are the biggest mistakes you see in branding?
So, naming, huge. You see a lot of companies struggle with poor naming, names that don't stick, names that people can't remember. So they work so hard to overcome that. See a lot of problems with colors. They pick colors that are so common that they can't own those colors. So they fit in, they blend in with everything else. So it's really hard to own that colors in your market. And the last thing we see that's generally a huge problem is just the brand itself. So it uses clip art, uses common things like roofing logos or arrows if you're an HVAC, right? So those symbols are just symbols that you can't own. And so when people see them, they don't necessarily associate them with your company, they associate with all companies. So those are typically probably the three biggest things we see.
Okay, so you want something that not everybody else is already doing. How
Exactly.
do you come up with some of these things? How do you come up with creative colors?
So just looking at the market and seeing what colors are saturated in our market. So thinking about, okay, I see that there's 5 other companies and they're using these colors. All of them are using similar color palettes. I'm gonna pick colors that no one is using. So as soon as you see my truck driving around the road, you know it's my brand that's represented that. So research your market before you pick the colors and the strategy you want to deploy, and that'll make it significantly more sticky in that community.
So a spicy take is you're saying don't use red, white, and blue.
Don't use red, white, and blue. I'm patriotic just like everybody else, but those are colors associated with many things, not necessarily your brand specifically. So it's very hard to own red, white, and blue. Also, it's very common, so again, makes it harder to be uniquely associated with your own company.
I like it. What is your favorite color, Dan?
My favorite color? Ooh, that's tough. Oh.
Well, you're thinking mine is pink.
Well, I love our brand colors because they are pretty unique in that particular space. But if I was starting an HVAC company or a home service company, I like colors that have energy, that have vibrance, apple greens, purples. Putting those colors together is also a very unique way to own those colors. So again, I would be looking at my particular market, and it doesn't even matter what I like or what my favorite colors are. It matters what's going to work in my community and who my target audience, what colors they like. So you also see that sometimes where people want to build brands all about themselves instead of thinking about creating a brand that actually is designed to attract the people you're trying to sell to.
Think about your customers.
So make them the audience that's most important, not you personally.
Yeah, it sounds like, that's something that everybody should think of, but you don't. You're thinking of yourself. What do I like? What are my favorite colors? What would I like as my brand? But that's not going to necessarily get me new customers.
Exactly, and here's a great example, someone we branded right here. Look at the color scheme on that.
We've got bright colors, okay, so I do see in a lot of your branding as well that you use either like animal, you like to use kind of like what would you call that?
Mascots.
A mascot.
Yep.
Have you seen that mascots get more attention than non-mascots?
Again, depends on the market. If you're in a market that has a lot of mascots, then you have to really look at that carefully. Because I don't want to put another mascot-based brand in a market that has a ton of mascots already, because then it won't disrupt, it won't stand out as much. But certainly we have definitely seen mascots connect so well with the audience. They're so memorable, and people see them, their kids see them, their kids point to them, and it gets inside the consumer's head when they need service. So again, thinking about the brand from the perspective of every time I see that vehicle on the road, it's leaving an impression. Okay, so the idea is when I'm ready for service, I remember seeing that brand in my community. So owning your brand within your community and being sort of famous in your community by having sticky brands really helps your online efforts too, because people are not searching roofing repair near me. They're searching for your actual company name at that point. So it's so much easier, obviously, to show up at the top of Google when they search your branded name rather than a generic search term.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're more likely to convert if they're actually searching for you rather than I'm looking for anybody.
The conversions on a branded company website in comparison to a company with a poor brand, it's usually like double. So definitely the stickier the brand, the more the consumer connects to it, the better your conversion rate is going to be on your website.
I like it. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Is there anything else that our customers need to know about getting a good brand?
So listen, this book, I didn't write this book to make a lot of money, because you won't make a lot of money writing books, that's for sure. But I feel like if many owners had read this book before they started their companies, they would save themselves so much heartache because they'd know about naming. Like the biggest chapter in the whole book is about naming. They would know about how to pick colors for them. They would know about how to write a tagline for their business. They would know all these things about building an effective truck wrap. So this really covers so much about building a brand for a home service business, and I just think it's something that will make their marketing spends go so much further if they get that foundation right. So again, the weaker the brand, the more money you're going to need to spend on it.
Yep. So if you're watching this and you think I have a terrible brand, you're talking exactly about me and I need to work with KickCharge, how does somebody get started with you? What does that look like?
Sure, they can just reach out to us at kickcharge.com and hit us up. We have a contact form if somebody get in touch with them, and we'll see if we can help them out.
Awesome. How do you start that branding process?
So we start that brand process by, usually we use a creative brief, which we share with the client. It's basically like a questionnaire. Talks about their market, talks about their competitors. We're going to research the whole competitive landscape that you're in. We're going to see what brands exist already, what those strategies look like, and then figure out what's the opportunity for us. What do we want to build that would be unique, disruptive, that would catch people's eyes? Which strategy would we deploy to do that? And then we figure out also, are there certain styles that you like? Do you want to have a mascot? Do you not want to have a mascot? And if it makes sense in that market, then we'll talk about the options that would make the most sense in terms of getting into people's heads. At the end of the day, that's all branding is getting in someone's head.
Yep.
Making them remember you when they need service.
Awesome. Would this very special tattoo live up to your brand standards?
I think that's pretty badass right there. That's pretty awesome. I really need to get my brand tattooed. I know.
I kind of have your brand tattooed. I've got your brand tattooed. I've got a little something else tattooed down here.
Wow, you're all in on this.
If you come to RoofCon, you can get your tattoo.
Really?
Of your own brand. We're bringing tattoo artists. You can get your own brand.
And some of these are so bad that they probably shouldn't get a tattoo, to be honest.
Yes. There's probably a lot of people that probably should not get their brand tattooed.
So call Dan first, get new branding, get a new logo before you tattoo it.
And then you can tattoo.
And you're stuck forever.
You'll be all good.